Cheers! Welcome to
Witchtober!
Yes!
Woo!
Happy Halloween. I don't know why that was more like
It's-
Harvey Firestein.
Yeah,
but-
or the lady from Monsters, Inc.
oh,
right?
Mike Wazowski.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is also serving that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched our summer camp,
Yes.
then you probably don't know that we are Ernest and Ernest's alter ego?
Mother Ernest.
Yeah.
Mother Whirl.
Yeah, Mother Whirl.
Oh my, I'm afraid.
Anyway, welcome to Movie Bitches, Witchtober.
It's that time of year.
Yes, it continues. Oh, a very exciting one. Witches of Eastwick.
The Witches of Eastwick.
I feel like people have been clamoring for this for a while.
Is that true?
I feel like every now and then it always comes up in the comments. Witches of Eastwick, Witches of Eastwick. You know?
It's iconic.
Yeah, well, Cher. Speaking of, first things first. Shout out to our Patreon supporters. $5 a month gets you ad-free early access. $10 gets you access to our viewing parties, where I watched Witches of Eastwick for the first time.
That's true. A lot of these are first times.
Yeah, but second things second.
Yes.
Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to share. Whole snap out. That's a different movie.
Different movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, did she had any,
Yeah. You're not even interesting enough to make me sick.
wow.
Vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell. You know, you're not even interesting enough to make me sick.
That was quite the tell-off.
Yeah.
And then she goes and fucks him.
You know, it's complicated.
Sure. Anyway, before we get into it, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Letterboxd, all of those places. And make sure to tell everyone, hey, check out Movie Bitches. They're doing Witchtober with wacky costumes from, Ernest Scared Stupid. Or, now the mom shows up in other Ernest
Yeah.
movies,
It's
right?
not just Ernest
No,
Goes Stupid.
no.
Although it is appropriate for this time of year.
Of course.
Of course.
Now, where's Eartha Kitt? I would like to know.
Oh.
Ridiculous, nonsense, foolish prattle. How can Batgirl be the best anything when Catwoman is around? Oh.
I just realized I'm excited about this, that Mother Ernest is wearing an Apple Watch.
Oh, I know. I thought about it. I should have taken it off. Whatever. You know what? She would.
Yeah.
Someone would have given it to her as a gift, and then she would never take it off.
Yeah, just leave
I
it
gotta
on.
close my rings today, It's a little Penny Marshall-y.
Yeah,
Being
it's
a
lot
mom
of-
is hard.
It's a lot of things.
Being
It's a lot of
Ernest's
things.
mom is hard.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a lot of things.
Yeah.
So, Witches of Eastwick from 1987.
Yes.
Starring Cher.
Cher.
Susan Sarandon. I was doing it in the list order.
Oh, okay, great.
Not necessarily.
Well, in list order.
Yeah.
Starring Jack Nicholson. Rude. How do you have a movie called Witches of Eastwick, starring Cher, mind you, where you top bill the man? No. I'm not having it. But anyway, Cher.
Susan Sarandon. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Veronica Cartwright. She's the woman
Who was great.
who's great. She's fabulous. She's in The Birds. She's the little girl in The Birds.
That's so funny because I said she was giving me Marnie vibes.
Oh, won't you come? Won't you please come?
I don't think so.
Tippi Hedren. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, who is Tippi Hedren's daughter?
Melanie Griffith.
Right.
Dakota Johnson's grandmother.
Right. Wow.
The lineage.
Wow. What happened? Distilled. Sorry, is that rude?
Not saying a word.
I'm not saying a word. Not one to talk about anybody behind their back.
Based on the very famous book by John Updike.
Yeah. I didn't know that until it came on the screen.
Yeah. I attempted to read
Okay.
this book, and his writing was so
Verbose? I've never read Updike.
it was tough.
Okay.
It was tough, and I didn't make it very far. Okay. I'm just gonna be honest
That's
with you.
fine.
I did not make it very far. It's like I can't read Hemingway. Something about the lack of sentence structure. Really, my brain just goes, oh.
Sure.
And
It's
so
one of those where you're like, wait, I just read this page 5 times.
wait, I just read that sentence 5 times.
Yeah,
Wait, I just
yeah.
read those 3 words 5 times. Anyway, it was a very, very famous book.
okay, there you go.
And lots of changes made.
Oh, okay. I mean, that tracks.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
But first,
Cher. Directed by George Miller.
Yeah.
His first American production.
Oh, okay, wow.
After doing the first 3 Mad Maxes or so, that kind of
right.
stuff.
And Babe Pig in the City, right?
I
Later,
believe it's
obviously.
Babe 2.
Babe 2.
I want to say.
I think that is correct.
And Happy Feet.
Happy Feet, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The oeuvre.
The oeuvre is just so hard to pinpoint.
It's hard to pinpoint.
There's certainly in this, I would say there is playful tone.
Uh-huh.
Not as much as a Practical Magic.
Right.
Where it's really quite charming and playful. This is a little bit more, but this was like Mermaids-esque as well, right? A little bit more of that. I don't know.
This movie to me reeks of studio notes. And that turns out to be true. It feels confused.
A little bit.
It feels disjointed.
Yep.
It's iconic nonetheless because
Absolutely.
of the cast, because of the way it looks. There's certain scenes that are truly iconic, performances that are out of control.
Yeah.
But as a whole, every time I watch this movie, I'm not disappointed, but I'm like, ooh, yeah, almost slam dunked it. Ooh, it was almost there.
They don't quite stick the landing.
Yeah. I wouldn't say this is my parallel. I feel like it's rude, but it's on the similar-ish level of Wild Wild West, where I'm like, I see that you had an idea, and it was a strong one, and I feel like it got lost along the way. And there's almost a really interesting movie here, Witches of Eastwick more successful.
Oh, yeah.
For sure, but there's that same idea of you almost had it, and it just didn't quite work.
From my recollection.
Uh-huh.
And I honestly really do. I think it's actually coming. I'm pretty sure that there's a Patreon.
Oh.
I think you guys can all thank someone on Patreon for requesting that one. I feel like with a rewatch of Wild Wild West, that is completely inaccurate, and that is one of the rudest things that you could have said about this movie. But no, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Just to give me the same feeling.
I completely understand where it's there's a vision. It's very specific.
It's close, you know.
It just didn't quite gel by the end. I kept being like, but what are we saying? What exactly is going on?
This will make sense eventually.
Eventually, right?
Right?
Oh, so he's a werewolf. No.
No.
Oh, so he's the devil. And
yeah. No.
Not really.
Yes.
Oh, so men are devil. Oh, but
right.
no,
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But whatever happened to her husband that just murdered her?
He is in jail for life.
I guess. Because of the devilish mind games?
Yeah. Well, that's the devil for you. Right?
I guess.
Yeah.
The devil made me do it.
The devil made me do it. So in the book, he's just a warlock.
Oh, that made sense. And there was a certain point where I was like, oh, they're all witches or whatever, right? Yeah. He's just, 1, a man, and therefore, 2, a douche. And he's using the powers for his own nefarious and selfish ways and to get women to be into him. Whereas they're using it really not much at all.
Well, so in the book that I read, not the book, the thing I read about the book, because I couldn't get through it's like, I couldn't do. Maybe I should try again. Should I try again? In the book, apparently, all women are witches. And their power expresses itself or it doesn't. Like that kind of thing. Or it's triggered by something or it isn't.
Right. The 3 of them coming together over martinis, begging for what they wanted, begging for this man to stop talking.
Right.
Caused a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
There you go.
Then why do we always end up talking about them?
Yeah, it was the Bechdel test of all of that.
Because, their first big use of their power is to, again, a checklist of the perfect man.
Well, I know. It's weird, right?
Right.
So many crossovers. Both the craft and practical magic in this. It was like, oh, okay. Wait, did we all just think that he was going to get run over by a car and then he did? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's kind of strange that we were all thinking the same thing at the same time, Suki? So what?
Oh my God, did I just make that happen? But also kind of doing it for your own emotional needs.
Right.
I'm feeling this whole, my divorce is final.
Right.
And I feel left alone. Oh, my husband is dead. Oh, my husband left me with 6 children.
Monty left you, he deserted you, and left you with 5 kids. 6.
And so they're looking to fill that void with magic, and then perhaps things go awry.
Yeah.
When you put it that simply, it's kind of fun, and you can really play with it, right?
Yeah. The power of female friendship and sisterhood.
Yeah.
Covens coming together.
But anyway, that's what happens.
Yes. Essentially. Yeah, so if you haven't seen Witches of Eastwick, I would say it's worth a watch.
It's worth a watch.
There's a lot of great imagery, performances. You know, obviously Cher is there.
It's so funny.
But it's almost
there.
It's so
almost. I'm thinking
close.
about how like similar in a lot of fun ways it is to Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
But
Death Becomes Her, fully successful.
fully successful. Really wouldn't change a thing.
Not a
And I was like, oh, if only Zemeckis. No, that's not what makes that work versus this not work.
Right.
He's a good director.
Yeah, George Miller's doing, so it was his first American movie. He was working with American producers.
Sure,
You know,
and they
he's
didn't trust him or whatever.
He's used to being left alone in the desert to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Right.
You know?
Now it's like all these producers that don't necessarily know him that well,
Right.
they don't trust him or whatever. And it's
Well,
like,
and
okay.
there's like stories about, you know, so apparently one of the producers, John Peters, was a full nightmare.
Oh, God.
And at some point just decided that he thought aliens should show up. Like he just was like, you know what? Aliens, yes. And that's what this movie makes you feel like, where you're like, I mean, I guess if aliens showed up, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's a big surprise, surprise, surprise.
Was the compromise
Necessary?
maybe like when he turns into that giant thing and then he turns into that
God.
weird little thing that kind of looks alien-like? Maybe that's what it was? Is he like, was it Spielberg? Was it Spielberg who was the producer?
These are interdimensional beings. They're not extraterrestrials, they're interdimensional.
Steven actually didn't like that idea.
And aliens.
They're interdimensional beings, Andrew. Get it straight or pay the price.
Now get it right or pay the price.
Anyway, so apparently, you know, it was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And the book I feel like is already fairly impossible to
adapt and to slim down and whatever.
You've got three, you know, huge, well, Jack Nicholson, you've got four like huge stars and you're trying to like manage that situation. So, you know,
right, Jack Nicholson's doing everything.
He's doing all of it and everything.
Yeah.
They're crawling all over me and I disappear and then I'm just not there anymore.
And I do appreciate it because he was wacky and wild, and it did feel like a fever dream in a way that was helpful to, well...
the tone.
Yes and no.
Yes! And no.
Then what are you saying?
I'm saying no. But I'm leaning towards yes. Then you're saying yes? No.
I feel like Jack Nicholson and Veronica Cartwright
Yeah.
are in the same movie.
Yes.
And everyone else is playing it pretty straight.
Yeah.
So it's a weird dichotomy where you're like, what's going on now? They're all just in a quad.
It's a polycule.
A polycule. That's just a fun word to say.
I know.
They're just like, and we're in a polycule.
Yep. Cool.
No questions.
Like, should we do
and
this?
We're all bringing our kids.
They're all like, right? And they all show up. I mean, I guess it's the witchery of it, right? But they all show up and it's just like, wait, you're fucking him? Oh, I was fucking him. Oh, we're all just gonna fuck him then? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, wait, can I fuck him? Okay, great.
Oh, okay.
We can all fuck him?
We can all fuck
Okay,
him?
great. Yeah,
We'll play this weird game of tennis together where the four of us just... weirdly maneuver the ball around?
I think the issue is there is no lore. There's no
Right.
elder.
No.
There's no, Eartha Kitt, Stalker Channing.
Right. They don't learn about witchery from anybody.
I don't even think the word witch is used really. I mean, I guess maybe Jack Nicholson says something, but basically, everyone just calls them whores.
Whores.
What?
Whores. Whores.
Right.
Like they're not, it's not like, oh, those witchy women. It's like, no, they've got perms and now they're whores.
Yeah, right.
The curlier your hair is, the looser your,
Yeah.
That's what this movie's telling us.
That is what it tells us. But you're right. And how do they determine how to make the voodoo doll?
By the end, you're like, and there's a book? Suddenly there's a book. There's a grimoire. And what? Like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
I think that's really where it fails. Like, either we need a narrator to be like, Eastwick, the town of... I mean, it's cheesy and it's whatever.
Or
but
you could do
something.
the, like, Casper hocus pocus of it, right? Where it's
the
like...
past.
Yeah, back in the, or a classroom, right? Where it's like, here, I'm going to give my book report on the Witches of Eastwick, and that's how it was in the past. And then... maybe one of her daughters and one of her six children
There's
shows
6.
up and is like, Mom, did you know about the Witches of Eastwick? And then blah, 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 blah.
Because it doesn't seem like Eastwick is particularly important to the story.
No.
I mean, it is because it's a fabulous small New England town next to a water source, so I'm in.
Of course.
Of course.
But is it? He says there's women all over the place.
Right.
I could go anywhere and trigger your powers. Like, it's so...
They called him was why.
Right.
Much like in Practical Magic.
Right.
They said, this is my ideal man who has a brain and a big dick or medium for Cher. Susan
Just right.
It was the Goldilocks of dicks.
Huge. I prefer small. Well, I'm sort of in the middle myself.
Curved the wrong way, but she liked it. I don't know.
He has this most amazing penis. It bends the wrong way. What do you mean it bends the wrong way? Wait a minute, what? I mean it kind of bends like that.
I don't know what that means. Was it Howard the Duck?
Howard. When she sculpted his big old dick onto that wax voodoo doll.
But then they never did anything
not
with it.
Corkscrewed.
No, it was not corkscrewed. It didn't even curve. It was straight as an arrow.
It was erect.
Yeah, it was.
Right. So the plot of Witches of Eastwick.
Yes.
3 fabulous coons living in 3 separate fabulous New England houses with various...
I was real nervous about Cher's. It felt like that could wash away at any minute.
I felt like it was going to wash away at any minute, but I did like the open floor plan.
Yes,
and
the big kitchen was cute and charming.
It looked very lived in and nice, and I was like, ooh, that's cute. They each have their own problems with men.
Yep.
And the town is provincial, and they're fabulous, and whatever, and so they call it... who would I
Well, they were like,
for?
we're never going to find any man here already, but what if there was someone new?
Oh, if it was a stranger.
Ooh.
Well, he's from New York, no wife, no family. He told the people at Pearly Realty he needed all that room for his pianos. Apparently, he has a lot of pianos.
Yes, he shows up.
Right.
He buys
What's his name?
The big mansion.
I don't remember.
You just bought the Lennox house. He's moving in.
You don't happen to remember his name by any chance?
Yes, of course. His name is...
Now, this was interesting, right?
It started with a
D and an R. And then they say his name, and the pearls break.
Daryl Van Horn.
Daryl Van Horn.
Daryl Van Horn.
And she trips and falls down the stairs and breaks her leg.
Daryl, that's it. Stop.
Van Horn.
Yes.
Daryl Van Horn.
Affecting.
Yes. It is a compound fracture.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
She's got a compound fracture of the right hip. Oh, Christ.
Okay, compound fracture is when the bone breaks through.
I guess Veronica Cartwright is the moral center of town and therefore is punished for him coming. It's all a little...
unclear, right?
I have a feeling, Clyde. The most terrible feeling. Something's happening, Clyde. Something evil.
He says that he was called there by them. But if you're telling me that all women are witches,
at least,
was he also trying? It felt like he was trying his wares on her, but she wasn't interested.
On Veronica Cartwright?
On Veronica Cartwright.
When? Do they have a scene together?
Well, just through the witchery of
I see.
Like, the
snowy egrets.
Haven't seen any snowy egrets out here, have you?
No.
Not that I'd know a snowy egret if I was pissing on one.
The snowy egrets, right? She was not having it from the beginning. As soon as she heard that house was sold.
What's going to happen to those birds now? You tell me that.
What birds?
Snowy egrets.
She was worried about the
Well,
snowy
there's
egrets.
sort of allusions to that. Oh, that house, something happened.
It has a
there.
history. They burned witches there.
Oh, so there's the book is there.
Right.
Something's there.
Yeah.
But they just don't, nothing's fully fleshed out.
No, you're always constantly wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, considering the history of the place and everything, I wonder if he knows.
Like, I always had questions, and a lot of them didn't really get answered.
No.
And unlike Practical Magic, you don't leave being like, well...
Who cares?
That was fun. I don't really care about the answers
No,
to
you're
those
like,
questions.
wait.
I'm like...
There's implications to this.
Yeah.
What?
And now he's back, but only via television? Is this like Tammy and the T-rex? Like, what's going on?
Hi, honey. How you doing?
I missed you.
Oh, honey, I missed you too.
Love that.
But like...
His dick wasn't in a petri dish, though.
No, for them to just ride like a dildo?
Oh, man. Come on, baby. Come on.
Ooh,
You're so naughty, you drive me crazy.
Now that's the way you end this movie. Yes. That is the greatest B-movie ending I've ever heard.
I really do love that, right? Where
Right?
where they're like, but do you kind of miss him?
Right.
Kind of. And then it's just like,
Yeah.
well, they found a way around that.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Anyway, he breezes into town and falls asleep at Susan Sarandon's boring concert.
Yep. And then wakes up, brava, bravissima.
Generally makes a spectacle of himself.
Yep.
Seduces all three of them right in a row.
Right in a row. Yeah, he's looking for those snowy egrets when Cher's bicycling by in her, not a belt, but pure snatched waist.
Still makes me laugh. Because I think the first time I saw this movie was on TV.
Oh, wow. So it was real, like, grainy.
Yeah,
You know?
and like I vividly, it was a similar experience to Mommie Dearest, where I caught it on TV.
Okay.
And was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm very drawn to
Mommie
it.
Dearest.
Sorry, what did you think?
Mamma Mia?
No.
And I don't know why, but I was
don't
like,
know why.
Meryl Streep. And I
Yeah,
was just
no,
like, huh.
no. Where like pre me being able to define what camp is.
Sure.
But my brain saying this is camp.
Right.
I just don't have the words. It was a similar situation where it's like I remember catching this on TV. I vividly remember the colors.
Yeah.
I vividly remember the cherry scene.
Oh yeah.
Have another cherry.
Her obviously the waist that I thought was a belt that I was like, ooh, that's a cute belt. Oh my god.
Now we know. HD.
That unexplainable camp factor, that this movie does have that.
Oh, absolutely.
It just doesn't fully come together as a movie.
Again, I think George Miller, I think he's talented.
Oh, yeah.
As we obviously know. You can see it in the film.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that really do work and that are visually arresting or visually iconic or whatever, right?
Yes.
This pool scene, this tennis scene, the cherry scene.
Yeah.
Like, all of these things. And even her, vomiting the cherries.
Yeah.
And then him vomiting the cherries in the church.
Yeah.
Lots of weird visual things that you're like, whoa.
Even like we said in the viewing party, Michelle Pfeiffer in the it looked like the Mommie Dearest shower color, that pink.
Yeah, that pink elevator. It was like that
You
shower.
know? Her just carrying that plant with the blue dress with the pink and her eyes and the way it's lit, even just that is visually, you're like, yes,
Yeah.
I don't, it's a feast of these actresses. They never looked better. They just look great in
Yeah,
it. And you're just
yeah.
like, yes, these wigs and this
Yes,
hair. And
yeah.
the hairography is
Oh, the hairography is great.
a whole story.
Yeah, a whole story. It really is. I mean, it tells a story. Susan Sarandon's wigs, hair, whatever.
It varies. It varies.
Crazy. I mean, amazing.
Okay, we have to make Susan Sarandon seem frumpy.
Right, frumpy and bookish. So we'll just
Give her a braid.
Oh my god. But yeah, you're right. It's interesting where I think the flaws of this movie came from, it sounds like,
Notes.
the production
Yeah.
and the notes and the adaptation. I don't know who adapted it and wrote the adaptation of the book.
I forgot to. Yeah.
But it sounds like things just got away, and it was hard to combine everything, and so things just got
Yeah, the ending feels so insane.
so insane,
Just
so rushed, so confused.
And there's no setup for anything, and nothing feels satisfying. You're just like, I'm what?
And you're like, what's the deal with his servant dude?
Well,
I love him, but
speaking of, okay, so watching the movie, and I was like, that seems to be Lurch from the Addams Family movies.
Right, yeah.
Turns out it is.
Love that.
He's also on Twin Peaks.
Oh.
And he's in Gerald's Game. He's in a bunch of, what's that guy's name who's doing good horror movies these days? He did The House on Haunted Hill, and he did Dr. Sleep. Anyway, his name will come to me later.
Great.
But the actor who plays his servant is named Carol Struycken, or something close to that.
I thought he was really good
Yeah.
and fun, but I was like, what's the story here, right?
Right.
Why is he this witch warlock servant?
Maybe he's,
Is he
you
part
know-
of it? Is he disinterested? Because it seemed like he was kind of on the side of the women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then obviously he stays and they keep him around.
Right.
So, they tried to make him just kind of like a simpleton of sorts. Apparently he's super hung. Was he fucking them? No.
I don't think so.
Me either.
But you know.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson seemed too selfish for that.
Right.
But then why did he bring it up to Cher?
Fidel, that's his name. Women love him. They're crazy about him. He has a big schlong. Huge.
He seems to be a eunuch, like kind
Well,
of
a little bit, but a hung one.
And he's
Okay.
in this really not very good movie called Oblivion that I watched a few times in middle school.
Oh.
The only reason I'm bringing this up
Okay.
is because it's directed by Sam Irvin,
Okay.
who directed Elvira's Haunted Hills
Oh.
and quite a few episodes of Dante's Cove.
Because in this town, it's not cowboys and Indians.
Not so fast, Pocahontas.
It's cowboys and aliens.
What? I love that. What
Oh,
a
yeah.
weird, small,
Oh, yeah.
circular connection.
So anyway, but no, I don't know what his deal is, and I don't know if George Miller knows. But
Maybe
he
not.
did set up this fabulously campy picnic tent.
Oh my God, I
the
loved it.
striped pink
Yeah.
with the golf cart.
Yeah.
And then like the fancy lobster cloche. And,
Right.
and the stuffed duck.
Yeah.
And then there's
and then
like
the
just
eggs all around the duck.
pile of fruit, like
Always
an
fruit.
impossible pile of
Yeah.
fruit.
yeah.
Like a
yeah. How did they? It's like a still life or something of fruit, where it's like, how did you arrange all of that and why? I love this. This was almost like Addams Family-y or something, right? A creepy house, but also it's just kind of fabulous.
There's an unreality. There's like the world is realized. Maybe some of the rules aren't, but like the world is realized.
Yeah.
But it's also not our world.
No.
There's like
well, it's a witchy world.
It's like a Zemeckis movie or a
Yes.
Sonnenfeld movie where you're like, I'm not on Earth. I'm on Earth, multiverse.
Multiverse.
Or something.
Very
You're like,
much.
It's just
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
Wait, you dig on multiverses?
That was the successful parts for me.
Yeah.
All of the world building, loved.
Yeah.
The plot or the concept of how the world existed and why and how it worked, no clue.
Couldn't tell you. But I do want to talk about Polly Platt,
Oh, yeah.
who was the production designer.
Okay.
And I knew her name.
Okay.
And I couldn't figure it out. And then I did. I figured it out. So she was married to Peter Bogdanovich.
Oh.
So I kind of had known that through, Hollywood history lore and stuff like that.
Sure.
But also, fabulously, so she was the production designer on Last Picture Show, What's Up Doc, Paper Moon. So Madeline Kahn. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Terms of Endearment.
Oh.
The Man with Two Brains.
Oh.
Star is Born, the Streisand one.
Okay.
The Bad News Bears. But she also was like a producer or executive producer, varying degrees, on Broadcast News, Say Anything, War of the Roses, Bottle Rocket. That's Wes Anderson's first movie.
Right.
War of the Roses, Danny DeVito. I think that's his first directed movie, maybe not his first, but up there. So just like a fun Say Anything, I think is Cameron Crowe's first directed movie.
Interesting.
So that kind of fun, I
A
was
lot
just
of
excited.
first time, or like she kind of.
Perhaps. I mean, I could
knows?
be. Oh no! I turned it into Pillsbury Doughboy. I was like, oh no!
Oh no!
Boy, did he go to pieces.
Or is that Mr. Bill?
Oh, no!
I don't know. It also reminds me of Will and Grace. No!
Oh no! We talked about
We
this.
talked about that noise.
I know!
I know!
No!
Sweetie, we talked about that sound.
I know! Anyway, we were talking about Polly Platt, but I was just,
Yeah, I love that. And
good stuff.
Great production design.
Fabulous production design.
Yeah.
Really, really excited about
Yeah.
it. Shout out to her.
Yay.
We also did not talk about the absolutely fucking enormous zucchini.
Oh my God.
Do we think this is a precursor to things that happen later?
Maybe.
I think that was
Michelle Pfeiffer did like them big.
Right? That was the joke, right?
Yeah.
That had to be
Yeah.
like a little Easter
That
egg.
or she's just so fertile too, right? That,
Both.
like everything that she touches just grows.
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah, I love
That was then the world's most powerful empire. For love of liberty, those who came before us tamed a vast wilderness. For love of liberty.
Weird weather we're having.
Oh my god, so stupid.
What was that? The weather. Very peculiar.
He was annoying. Nothing ever really came of him. See, like I was waiting for more comeuppance.
Right.
And more like, we're gonna work together as witches to solve problems.
They never really have a fully realized conversation that they are witches.
No.
You know what I mean? It's sort of like Michelle Pfeiffer's the only one because she's the investigative journalist.
Yeah.
She's the only one that's like, that was weird. Wait, no, that was definitely weird. Wait, you guys, we should like examine this. And everyone else is like, who cares? He's got a big old dick. And so that is mildly discussed. But there's never like a moment where they're like, oh, the book of, Ipswich
right,
and the town
right.
or whatever.
Or even like, oh, we all played tennis and then the ball floated in air and went really slow and I was able to control it.
No
Conversation. No, like, aha, we knew because we're already witches.
Right.
None of that.
No,
right.
and he doesn't like say, I mean, he says,
just your average horny little devil.
just your little average horny devil.
Right.
But he doesn't, if he had actually been a warlock and they explain that, then we could have some sort of conversation about, see, you're witches, I'm using your power to gain power. Or I don't have power. He does have power.
He does have power.
Does he get it because of them? From them? We don't know.
Well, it seemed like it because like he would often have like the 4 scratch marks and then he like, remember he scratches the desk?
I think that was from Susan Sarandon when they were fucking.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No,
You
because
think he scratched himself?
I think so. And he would go in between. I didn't know if it was makeup or if it was part of the plot. Where it's like, oh, now I'm younger and like more rejuvenated.
Right, and
now I'm
sometimes
old and
he
haggard.
looked more werewolf devil-y.
Yeah.
And sometimes he didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, but so talking about the grosso at the, I don't know, the mayor or the
the principal
at the school
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, the principal.
Well, let's put our heads together and maybe we can work something out.
They casually kind of mention his name. They're like, oh, blah, 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 Walter Neff.
Fuck Walter Neff. I'm not talking about him.
Okay.
And I was like,
that sounds
Walter
like
Neff.
Yeah.
It's Fred McMurray's character from Double Indemnity.
Oh, wow. That movie.
Ugh.
Really great.
Ugh. Talk about a tight script.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, that has to be on purpose. Like I can't.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Walter Neff, like. But Richard Jenkins. So yes, Richard Jenkins and Veronica Cartwright.
Something's inside me, Clyde. Something's crawling inside me. Something evil.
And he says,
yeah.
oh, we had like a great, everything was good. And then all of a sudden, she broke her leg and she turned into a different person.
The bone marrow changed.
You think it's the bone marrow?
Yes. She's going to be very upset. She's going to say terrible things. She will even be a little paranoid. It's perfectly normal.
Turned her into it.
Yeah, the fat from the bone got into her
evangelical.
I'm like, wouldn't that cause a stroke? Not like weird demonic voices?
Nuclear holocaust? Murder? Rape? Apartheid?
Because her bone broke because of a spell?
Because of that, again, it was unclear as to what happened there.
Well, then it was like,
why did he have this vendetta against her?
If no one can remember his name, and then maybe that's the key that when they do, they have some power over him, or like, it's like very Rumpelstiltskin or whatever.
Yeah.
Nope.
What was that?
Never comes up.
Where they were like, oh, if we learn his name. Well, certainly Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice?
No, don't say it. Shit. No, there was something else that they were like, oh, if we learn his name, then we can like squash the demon, but we have to learn the demon's name.
Oh, that's a pretty, yes. They were doing research.
Yeah.
I think that was Pope's Exorcist.
It absolutely was.
It was Omnibus.
It was Omnibus. That is the dumbest. I'm so glad. Now, Russell Crowe.
In this?
Yeah.
I can see it.
I mean, he might be too charming. Because
it's debatable.
The thing about Jack Nicholson, right, it was that, like, especially obviously the way that they made him look.
He's handsome, but not too handsome.
He's not handsome. I mean, in this, he's not handsome at all.
But, they do that.
I've never found him charming or handsome, personally.
I've found him enigmatic. I've never found him handsome.
No, it's never worked for me. As good as it gets, I'm always just like, what? What?
What?
It doesn't make any sense. Helen Hunt?
Wait, does it?
No.
Oh, right. She doesn't end up with Greg Kinnear. Oh, because Greg Kinnear's gay, right?
I don't remember.
I haven't seen that movie in a while.
I think I've seen it once.
It's been a
But
while.
either way, I was just like, no, Helen, no. Why?
No!
So, quick commercial break, and we will be back with more Cher. We never really got a closing on her art career, Cher's. I would love to know. She makes this giant pregnant lady statue.
Yeah.
Was it a fertility omen? Was it,
Yeah.
that was unexplored?
Again, a thread that was not pulled.
Right.
Or continued, a through line that didn't continue.
Didn't continue.
Oh, well, speaking of recasting.
Okay, yes.
Apparently.
Uh-huh.
Originally cast Bill Murray. I could see it.
I guess I could.
It would be different.
It would. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, Jack Nicholson and Veronica Cartwright are in a movie.
Yeah.
And then the three women are kind of in a different movie.
Yeah.
That was much more toned down, much more kind of mermaidsy, right?
Yeah.
And whatever. And if you were to replace him with someone else that wasn't doing as much, then I wonder what the tone would be like. Would it seem less surreal and crazy and more just like, well, wait, is he charming?
Well, it comes in so hot, right?
Yeah.
There's never a mystery. You are like, well, he's something. He's snoring like he's possessed by a demon.
Like a werewolf.
Our opening
he
scene.
is like a...
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
He was prepping for Wolf.
Honestly.
With Michelle Pfeiffer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Directed by Mike Nichols.
Oh.
And James Spader's there.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah.
From the moment we meet him, you are not fooled in the least.
No, that's what I'm saying. Whereas if
And
it was someone else, maybe you would be fooled. You'd be like, oh, then then it's like a little bit more practical magic, right?
Right.
Where you're like, oh, then this guy that meets exactly, but like, wait, there's only one of him and there's three of them. How's this going to work?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they're all just in this polycule together? Kind of into that. Oh, wait, he's kind of creepy. Oh, wait, he's trying to get them all pregnated so that he can have little demon childs
Right,
and,
there's like
and
a different
warlord
movie
them.
here that's very nefarious. You know, that's
Sure.
like very Ari Aster or something. It's like there's a Midsummer in here. You know?
I actually would be super into an Ari Aster
Which movie?
But or even just a remake of
Witches
of
of
Eastwick, but like where he has a more blank slate to do a proper adaptation where it makes more sense, where there is the time taken to go into this world.
Sure.
Maybe.
And it's like Jessica Chastain.
Oh boy, yeah.
And like Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh boy,
and
yeah.
like Selena Gomez or something. I was trying to think.
I'm trying to think
of the hair.
Oh well, the hair.
I'm casting for hair.
Right,
you know?
but also like the age range. I guess.
That's a lot. That's different. Oh, but at some point.
Yeah.
Pam Grier was up for one of the witches, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because honestly, yes.
Yeah.
Give Pam Grier all the work.
Sure.
But I mean, who do you replace? I don't know.
Well, right.
Add a fourth witch.
In this case, more witches. Again, too, like, I guess I would have liked, like, and this is just different. It's just different. But, like, what was so fun about Practical Magic is that all of the women come together to banish the douchebag man.
Doesn't everyone have a little witch in them? You know, that kind of...
Exactly. I needed Frances McDormand to get up and give me a rousing speech and say, come on, women, let's witch this guy out of town.
Or they go out of town to Frances McDormand's hut. And
Sure.
Or, no, it's Naomi Watts.
Oh, no.
You knew exactly. Right away.
Naomi Watts' twin sister, the witch who lives in the woods. That famous part of the Shakespeare.
Who are you?
A friend.
But yeah, they needed someone or some direction, or they needed a scene where they found that book and were like, Daryl, what's this?
Right.
Don't look at it. Oh, that was
Again,
weird.
her kid is doing a project for class on the Witches of Eastwick, and the book is lying around, and they're drunk on martinis, and
We've
they
never
say,
had like her journalistic interview, which is is much talked about and
Yes.
never happened.
Correct.
Even that could have been an easy way in. Oh, the Lennox Manor famously housed this witch or whatever.
Yeah, they burned the Witches of Eastwick there.
Oh,
Let me
we've never
research them.
Oh, it's been closed for historical whatever. We've never had access to the house.
Yeah.
And, you know, does that grimoire just come with the house? Is it his personal? Like, we have no idea. We have no idea.
Where those which statues were there and which ones were brought in. I don't know.
But this pool, we have not talked about this fucking pool.
This like Hearst mansion.
Very Hearst, complete with fire pits.
Weird.
Chandeliers. This is the most dangerous pool.
Right?
You're going to get electrocuted or burned.
Or both.
And it's all black.
Yeah.
It looks like a lake.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. Now, do we think he just had these bathing outfits?
For them, and the robes with their names on them.
Yeah.
Witchcraft. That's what I'm saying. I think he just produces stuff out of nowhere. And then maybe that's why at the end of these scenes, he's all like haggard and old. And then he needs to recharge.
We're reading into it. Maybe like sex charges his powers?
Perhaps.
Or something?
Yeah. I would like to fuck you. What does he say? It was like, wow.
I do like a little pussy after lunch.
Anyway, I always like a little pussy after lunch. What do you say?
That really took me aback.
In the Borgia's bed.
I mean, it was a lot.
The Borgias once owned the bed. Of course, you have to pay for it with your soul, but what the hell? I deserve a little luxury.
It was so much. And him with his creepy posing.
Oh, and his ponytail.
His tiny little ponytail.
We haven't talked about the ponytail.
Oh my God, the micro pony.
The kimonos and ponytail.
It was a lot.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about this overalls, pigtails, work belt look?
Yeah. It was
It's
wacky
so good.
and I loved it.
It's so good.
Yeah. She looked flawless pretty much. I mean, her hair was wacky in this. But,
yeah.
But for the most part.
It's a big one. It's big.
Yeah. But she looked great all throughout, and I love her.
Well, so the costume designer. Someone we've talked about before. Aggie Gerard Rogers is the costume designer.
Okay.
She did the costumes for American Graffiti.
Oh.
Conversation.
Oh.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Return of the Jedi. Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Beetlejuice. My Stepmother is an Alien.
Yep.
I Love You to Death. Benny and June and The Fugitive.
Oh, wow.
But it was so weird because I was watching this and Michelle Pfeiffer is in those fabulous black and white pajamas with the little flat top hat. And I was like, what is going on with this fabulous Benny and June oh my God.
Oh my God, of course.
It's the same costume designer. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Love that.
My Stepmother's an Alien. I was like, wait, I've read this series of films before.
Yes.
Like,
just recently. That's funny. That's funny. I love that. And the costumes in this were great.
Really, really fabulous.
Really interesting.
And they each
fun
have their own distinct
characters,
style and characterization.
Yes.
I mean, Susan Sarandon in this polka dot tennis, bathing suit outfit.
God, right?
Boop, boop,
yeah, she turned slutty so fast.
I mean, her cello was smoking and then set on fire. Because then that scene, that's in a different movie.
It was almost like Zucker Brothers-y.
It was definitely Zucker Brothers level.
And then Veronica Cartwright has this cherry scene was pretty crazy.
This is, for me, the most iconic scene in this movie. I remember it viscerally.
Right?
First it's just the pits.
Yeah.
And then it's the stems. And then it's just projectile vomiting. And then Richard Jenkins just murders her.
With like a blade?
It was a fireplace poker.
Oh. Yeah.
He is sent to prison and we never see or hear from him again.
No, she's like, I know that he couldn't have done that. And it's like, well, he did.
Girl, get into that investigative journalism.
And we never really find out what happened there. You know what I mean? That's what I'm just like.
Well, it was all off camera.
Well, right.
It was just this.
It was just like all of a sudden you're like, huh? Oh, she's dead. Oh, fuck. But
yeah.
Why?
I was like, no, she was like my favorite part.
She was my favorite part. And I wanted them to like band together to be witches.
Good for you, Veronica Cartwright.
Yeah, stealing from Cher, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Susan Sarandon.
Wow.
Yeah.
And sometimes even Jack Nicholson. She was doing a lot.
She was doing so much, but it was great.
Yeah.
Spanish flies, dildos, anal intercourse. Listen,
Yeah, she has that great line. I have nothing against a good fuck, but there's danger here. And I was like, you know what? Yes. And that's where, too, I really liked it, where it's like, okay, she's the moral center. That's not really the thing.
She's the only one that's seeing through.
She has a sense all along. She says there's evil coming.
He's trying to get inside me.
Yeah.
There's something's happening.
Yeah. And I like that it's not like she's prudish or that she's like
right.
more, like, oh, I'm Christian and it's not
That's
about
just
that.
sort of the spoutings, but it's
a little, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Was she under a spell?
Maybe.
Why? I want to know.
And she was resisting him? How? But she didn't have anything to do with
No, she's the only woman in town that's resisting him. That's interesting.
Yes.
You don't understand, Daryl. It's a small town.
We have not done anything wrong. Why should we stop seeing each other?
But yes, so they all break up with him.
Yes.
I can't see you anymore. And then he starts using their greatest fears against them.
Yes.
And Susan Sarandon
getting old.
Ages dramatically. And then Cher is in bed with a bunch of snakes, which was very The Craft.
Yeah, very The Craft.
And Michelle Pfeiffer doesn't like pain. And I don't know why she got such a...
She really got the...
No, because I think if Susan Sarandon was walking around in hag makeup,
right,
for
if it was more than 12 seconds of her being old in a mirror, like that would have been helpful.
Well, it would have been comedic.
Well, maybe.
And Cher just keeps pulling snakes out of her wig and just going, God damn, another fucking snake. They just keep showing up.
Right, theirs was like temporary. Whereas poor Michelle Pfeiffer is like sent to the hospital.
Right, she's hemorrhaging.
And it's continuing pain.
Yes.
Maybe that was the easiest one for him to do, and then also was like, great, now I'll use her as leverage to blackmail them.
Again, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know his motivations or his skills or his talents.
I'm not sure, but I'm pregnant. Me too. Me too. Oh my
God, that bastard.
And so they suck up to him. Yeah. And this was giving, they're all like in his bordello, and it was giving like Dracula and his wives.
Sure.
And then I was like, is he a vampire?
No.
He's a wolf.
But
he's a vampire.
Yeah.
He's a devil. He's a, I don't know.
An
interdimensional being.
Right.
I don't know.
And then so I guess they all fuck.
Right. They all fuck him.
Yeah.
They have a menage a trois. No.
Menage a trois is 3, so cat, it doesn't really...
Menage a cat, they have one.
Yep, they do. I think it's just an orgy at that point, right?
4, that's where it caps out. 4
or
is
is
an
it
orgy.
5 is an orgy? I don't know. But yes, they do. And then the next day, they're like, haha, bye, we want bagels and ice cream, thanks.
We're pregnant.
Yep. And so then they use that time to use book that we have no idea where it came from.
No clue. We've never seen before. Nope. Suddenly, there's no dialogue. They're not like, what if we tried this? What if this happened? They just know what to do.
They just know what to do. They all communicated with each other, apparently. I don't know.
They melt a bunch of candles. They make Cher, sculpts his dick.
Yep.
And a voodoo doll.
Yep.
And then they stab him and they throw pillows at him, pillow feathers.
And so then he blows away in the pillowy wind into the
this
church.
Is just wild stuff.
Wild stuff. Real wacky. The laws and the physics of it just make no sense to me, but that's okay.
Well, and I kept thinking, like, where is the town? Like, where is anybody?
Right.
And I did read that, like, apparently George Miller would be like, oh, I need 200 extras, and they would send him, like, 50. That kind of thing. So,
like, we don't have the budget for that.
It makes sense why you have so many questions where you're like, wait, but why would, So I'm not blaming George Miller.
No.
But, like, in this scene, I'm going, this town is abandoned and he's being blown away, and you're just like, what is this?
Yeah, right. It's like an empty town.
And then he gives a tirade in the church, and then he's vomiting on everyone.
Yeah. Tidal waves, earthquakes, floods.
They want to send him away. But
why?
Because they still kind of like his dick.
I guess they do. So then, what really gets crazy to me is that after he reveals himself to be a full demon.
Wait, yes, we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
So they stab him. Oh my God. He breaks in 3.
Yep.
Suddenly, it's the Scorpion King. And the room is fake shaking.
Yep.
And insanely stupid looking troll, Jack Nicholson face, blah, blah. It looks like Gollum.
Yeah.
Blah, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah,
Yep.
blah.
Wow.
Attacks them,
From the outside of the house.
but he's melting. That's why he was getting smaller.
Right.
And then the baby, the weird.
It was like almost malignant.
Malignant. It was kind of malignant. That actually looked kind of interesting.
Sure.
At least. Like the big.
There was a production design to it. The
there
big
was a
one
choice. The
looked,
big one looked. I got the biggest laugh.
Yeah.
It looked so dumb.
Yeah, really dumb.
I had forgotten just how bad it looked.
All of
I
this
think,
was
too,
insane
I
to
had
me.
blocked out the end of this movie because
Sure.
it's bad. Like.
Yeah.
This movie starts and you're like, yes, the town, them, I'm into it. They're drinking. And
Yep.
you're like, yes, and then it gradually is.
You know what this movie is perfect for? The Cinespia movie in the cemetery.
Yeah, because you like kind of want to pay attention, but you also kind of don't.
Yeah, and like you have martinis when they have martinis, and you have a fun like meal and whatever, and then you're drunk at the end, and you're
everyone,
like,
you could put on your permed wig halfway through.
yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, you can orgasm all together when she burns her cello, when her cello's on fire.
It's like everyone's with their lighters. Like,
Yeah, I
yes,
love it.
bitch, yes.
I love it. Yeah, no, I think that'd be really fun.
That would be good. That's
and
a
then
perfect
you're
way to
drunk
watch
at the
it.
end, and you don't really remember
You're
the
like,
end,
what?
and it doesn't
I
matter.
don't know. It was there, and then there's
Yeah.
babies. What?
Yeah.
So yes, so they banish him, and then it's 18 months later, and they are living in this house.
Yep.
I don't know how, with all their kids, and they have 3 new kids. They've turned the castle, the Lennox Manor, into F.A.O. Schwartz.
Into F.A.O. Schwartz, and there are 10 children now living there?
Jesus, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, because of Cher's first kid.
6.
Yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you asking me to do math?
I'm sorry. I already did the math, and then you second guess me.
I should always just believe you.
I didn't go to school for math.
But yeah, there's 10 children now. I mean, the house looks huge. I'm sure they all have their own rooms. Like, that's great. Like, in some ways, this seems like the dream. You know, as long as they have his witchy dildo.
His witchy dildos.
That clone of Willy, they really got to get that dildo made. Now, could you imagine if just this movie ends and they're like, don't you miss him a little? But then, like, the UPS guy comes and they open a bag and it's just, like, his weirdly curved demon dick.
I feel like it's in the tube that Luke Skywalker's in when he's healing.
Sure.
They've got like a...
It's growing.
It's in stasis and they're, keeping it...
Oh, my God. That keeps it sanitized, too, so they can all use it, It's like the barbershop, the Barbasol, you put it back in.
Wouldn't be putting that near...
I mean, you rinse it off.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, this really went to a
weird place.
Weird place.
But yeah, so then it ends.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, this is going to be a weird button, right? Where the kids, he draws them all into the giant weird TV room.
Well, and they're boys. I
Yeah.
feel like all the previous kids seem to be girls.
All of her 6 kids were girls because she's a good witch.
And Cher's daughter.
So
So, yeah,
it's all
suddenly
women.
It's 3 boys.
Yeah,
and-
he's going to make more of them. He's
Yeah.
going to make more of himself or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
More demons, one assumes.
So now, well, no, I'm assuming he's a warlock. That's
Yeah.
just what he is,
Yeah.
right? So does a warlock witch baby?
Uh-huh.
Is that the only way to make another
witch warlock?
Right. I
don't know. None of it is explained. But so then he lures them in. He's like, hello. He comes on the TV. Hi, boys. Like, oh yes, we're gonna have such a great time.
Come on.
They come in and they just turn the TVs off.
Credits. Composed by John Williams.
Yeah, wow. We didn't talk about that
We
at
didn't
all.
talk about it. But John Williams did the music, and it was a little different.
It was a little different
It was
for him.
wall to wall, but it didn't. He's good at doing different sounding themes that still make sense that it's John Williams.
Yes.
Like, it's not like Hans Zimmer where you're like, oh, that's the same.
I do find, I don't know if I love him as a composer.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Let me say that. Let me rephrase.
Home Alone doesn't work without him.
Let me rephrase.
E.T. doesn't work without him.
Let me
Indiana
rephrase.
Jones.
Doesn't work.
Jaws.
I know.
Star Wars.
You're right. Okay, fine. Let me rephrase in just that I feel like he gets overhyped. Like everyone's just like, oh my God, he's the best composer ever to live in the entire history of the planet Earth. And I'm like, well.
But anyway.
But yeah, so it ends.
Yep.
And I don't know. What does that mean for the future of Cher? What does that mean for the future of humanity? Are these boys
all going to turn into Damien?
Yeah.
I don't
Daryl?
know.
Is this Rosemary's
Now,
Baby?
You know,
Is this...
okay, we time jump.
Yeah.
All 3 boys, because
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming they were born on the same day, because,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
They're all turning 18.
Okay.
Father Amort, played by Russell Crowe.
Has to come exercise them? Now, however, okay, what if there's a Witches of Eastwick 2?
Right.
And it is 18 years later. And now on their 18th or 13th year, we could decide, right, when they become a man.
Right.
Are we doing it that way?
Depends
then they're
on how,
kids and they're going to be
It's
annoying.
going to be fucking annoying.
So we can do
it depends on how R-rated you want the movie to be. You know?
More R-rated, right?
Yeah,
We can have them be 18. That way they can be hot and fuck.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a little like Desperate Housewives-y,
Sure.
where they start like seducing all of like the neighboring women. Maybe they move to like New York or go to college together. But then Cher is obviously there as like a cameo, at least. And Susan Sarandon and Michelle Pfeiffer are there because absolutely give them the work. I want it to be centered around the women.
Yeah.
Not these 3 men.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if that's like the conflict, is that like they're brothers, half brothers, obviously, and they're, you know, my half brother is part devil, is a warlock.
We're all part devil.
We're all part
Warlock.
witch.
Oh, and witch.
Right, if all women are witches and all men are warlocks, but they have to find the power within them, and when do they get that power?
You know, I think I'm just...